One of the most vocal critics of the U.S. decision to delay the new Keystone Pipeline is former U.S. Ambassador to Canada, David Wilkins, who lobbied for the project on behalf of the Canadian oil industry. We reached him in South Carolina. Mr. Wilkins, the Canadian finance minister now says that Canada should maybe just sell that oil to China now. What's your reaction to that?
My reaction is that the United States needs all the energy we can get from a reliable source. Our good friend Canada. I certainly don't blame Canada's reaction to the recent decision by the White House, but I hope in the end that doesn't happen. But, the United States right now needs two things more than anything else. We need jobs, and we need energy from a stable, reliable friend. And Keystone XL gave us both. 20,000 immediate jobs, increased energy from a good ally and friend that shares our same principles. And what the White House basically turned its back on both.
Why do you think the approval was delayed? Do you think the issue was protecting that water basin, or was it a rejection of oil sands oil?
I think it was to put the decision past the election. Unfortunately, and I think it is very unfortunate, but unfortunately, I think it's politics over policy. I think it's politics at its worst, and the president was trying to placate the environmental base of his party, and he delayed the decision by 15 months, costing needed jobs in the United States.
There's been a few setbacks to Canadian-American relations lately, the Buy American policy, the new entry fee, and now this. Do you think, is our relationship getting less cozy, do you think?
Well, I hope not. From first-hand experience of being the U.S. ambassador in Canada for 4 years, I know how important this relationship is. It's the most important relationship that the United States has, and it's important to both countries and to the world. This doesn't help. I hope it doesn't.
Well, what do you think? Will it go ahead?
I can only tell you I hope it doesn't, but it certainly doesn't help make the relationship stronger. The relationship is so important. We ought to be doing everything we can to nourish it, and this certainly doesn't do that.
David Wilkins, thanks so much for this.
Thank you.
As we reported last night, approval in the U.S. for the Keystone XL pipeline project is being delayed. So what economic benefits are at stake in Canada? The federal government says the project will create 60,000 jobs over the next 25 years, most of them in Alberta, and add about $600 billion to the Canadian economy. If it goes ahead, it would increase Canadian pipeline capacity for oil by 700,000 barrels a day. Today, Jim Flaherty said the delay in approving the project might just kill it, and the finance minister said other plans, like shipping oil to China or India, may have to be considered. That's not what some Albertans want to hear right now. The CBC's Brian Labby explains.
In Hardisty, the people here have seen the highs and lows of Alberta's boom and bust economy. And up until yesterday, they were hoping to cash in on the next boom, the Keystone Pipeline.
We try to plan, because when you get the population of these people coming in now, it doubles the population of the town. So obviously we try to gear up for that. And when then you get a setback, so you got to wind things down and you got to reorganize.
The town would have been the starting point for the pipeline. Of course, now everything's on hold.
We would have been having the manpower building that pipeline coming to town. So for our businesses, yes, economically they're going to lose some money.
And while TransCanada has been stockpiling hundreds of kilometers of pipe and has invested billions of dollars, it admits abandoning the project is a possibility if its oil sands and refining customers get tired of waiting for U.S. approval.
The single greatest refining market for this kind of crude oil is the U.S. Gulf Coast. I don't suspect they'll ever give up on that. But what we might see is you may see a pipeline, for example, go to the West Coast, and then you'll see tanker traffic move down the West Coast through the Panama Canal and back up into the Gulf Coast.
In Hardisty, Darcy Goodrich wants the pipeline built. He says Americans will have to get their oil from somewhere.
If we're going to stay accustomed to that and dependent on it, pipelines are almost a necessary evil, unless you're willing to look at the alternatives.
And so the people here wait and wonder, will the pipeline ever get built? Brian Labby, CBC News, Calgary.